Alright guys, got another quick one here for you. So I got a recent question in our Facebook group about deadheading rhododendrons. And so I thought I'd just go over that with you guys here real quick and show you how to do it, why to do it, all that good stuff. So I know rhododendrons aren't for everybody and can't be grown everywhere, mainly in the desert climates of the Southwest. But they do grow just about everywhere else in the United States, from California, Northern California, more all the way up the coast through Oregon, Washington. They can be grown over in Ohio and then beyond there to the East Coast, down to the South, and they grow wild in a lot of the southern states and some of the East Coast states. So, and also here in Washington, in fact, it's our state flower. But back to the topic here, deadheading rhododendrons. So the reason that we deadhead them is so that they'll grow nicer foliage through the summer and then put on more blooms for the next year. What happens is when those blooms come out, they create seed pods, and those seed pods take a lot of energy to grow, and so the plant's putting a ton of energy into those seed pods instead of the new green growth that we want to be going into the plant, because that new green growth is also going to start forming flower buds at the top of them. So when we don't deadhead, all that energy goes into the seeds. When we do deadhead or break off the seeds from that top of the bud there, the energy can go into the green growth. So for me, I've got one rule about deadheading, and that is I only deadhead the young plants that are in my hoop house here. The reason is, as rhododendrons grow and become bigger and bigger and bigger, it becomes impossible to try and deadhead all the rhododendrons in your landscape. It's an endless chore, and really the plants are well enough established that they can put on plenty of blooms through the seasons, even if you don't deadhead. But these young plants, like this one right here, Johnny's putting his 2 cents in. This young one right here will probably put on some blooms next year here, but it's a smaller plant in a 2-gallon pot, so I will want to deadhead and break those seed pods off so I get more green growth. I want this plant to really get a lot of energy, the roots to put tons of energy into the growth. I want this thing to grow and put on a lot of size so that it becomes a nice saleable plant. If I leave the seed pods on these guys and don't break them off, a lot of energy is going to be going into growing seeds and not into developing a beautiful plant. Like I said, once I get these guys out into my landscape, I don't worry about it anymore. They're big enough, they're nice enough that they'll just take off and do their own thing, and they'll flower just fine without deadheading. Now real quick, just so you guys know, deadheading also applies to other plants aside from rhododendrons. It's just talked about it most in rhododendrons. I don't know why, but if you have lilacs, you can break the seed pods off of them and it'll put on more nice growth on those guys. You know, any plant in your landscape that puts on blooms and then dies back and leaves a seed pod, you can break those off and it'll put more growth into the green vegetative growth instead of seed pods, and then you'll get more blooms the next year. So when you're doing this, you want to snap these seed pods off right at the base, right down just above the new buds on the plant that are going to shoot off. Now, we're a little bit late in the season for this, but I thought, you know, I got the question, I might as well make a video about it. So I've already got, on this particular rhododendron you're looking at now, I've already got some green growth coming up and the next whirl of leaves here coming on. So I'm a little bit late doing this, like I said, and the energy has been put into seed and the new growth, but this is one out in my landscape. Normally I would do this right after these things bloom. Now when you're doing this, like I said, you want to grab that seed pod right at the base. It's not enough to just take the petals off, or you could actually just remove the seeds. Sometimes I have rhododendrons where the seeds, the actual base where the seed pods are coming out of is too soft and it's just attached too well, and when I break it off it ends up breaking buds off. So if I run into a weird situation like that, I just break the seeds off. You don't have to necessarily break the entire, you know, branch off there above the buds. And so as long as you get the seed pods off and the energy's not going into them. So I hope you learned something here. Hope you like this video. If you do, please hit the like button, subscribe if you want to follow along. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.